what is the state of hiring in the medical device industry? Paula Rutledge.
Terrific. So the state of hiring is great if you're a candidate, not so great if you're a hiring manager. In fact, the two SIC codes that I predominantly work in, 3840 and 3841, our unemployment rate, if you extrapolate out non-college graduates and people between the ages of 25 and 64, unemployment is less than 3%. That is virtual full employment. So if you're a hiring manager, you're finding that you're having to go and be more creative about trying to find people. How many people have had their heart broken by a candidate saying no in the last 2 years? Yeah, just about everybody. If you're a candidate, the news is good. There's a lot of great jobs out there. And I know there are some folks in the transitions, but the more experience that you get in your career, the more difficult it is to find a great job. In fact, I talked to someone yesterday who said that they had a job offer that was right at that last stage, and that's an exciting time. But in truth, there are people that take 6 months to a year to find just the right position. So I guess my advice is if you're a candidate, right, and you're struggling with your job search, you have got to be proactive. I talk to folks all the time and says, you know, I talked to a recruiter, they said that they were gonna get me a job, and nothing ever happened. But in truth, you've got to be the one to be very, very proactive. So here's a couple things that you can do as a candidate. Number one, reach out to your network proactively. In fact, finding a job should be a job in some senses. Number two, look at your resume. I get resumes all the time that look like they were made in 1984. If your format is not keyword rich, if it is not formatted to look like it's been written by a millennial, then guess what? It's probably not going to be read. And in fact, a lot of resumes are read first by computers. I have 358,000 medical device resumes in my database. My company's been in business since 2005. I started with Johnson & Johnson, 1984. Worked there for a number of years where I really learned the foundation of business principles. I'm still using some of the things that I learned back then now. Worked for a company called Synthase, an orthopedic company, which was then acquired by J&J later on. And finally for GE Healthcare. So I know in talking to a lot of you that there's a lot of commonalities there. So if I would look back through the networks of all the people that I have worked with and worked for over my last 32 years in the medical device industry, it's a couple 100,000 people. And I bet if you're a candidate, you know a lot more people than you think you do. And I think just a simple thing to do is if you have not had your resume professionally written, I've talked to so many of you with my Medtech TV interviewing that you're the best. You want to be hired, you want people to hire you because you're an expert in what you do. And if you're going to take something as serious as your career and have your resume not be something that would be indicative of the type of work you would do, you're doing yourself a disservice. So for candidates, my name is Paula Rutledge. My email is paula@legacymedsearch.com. I have 19 incredible folks that work for me. So if you are looking for a position and we are not connected, and chances are we are, then please send me an email, mention that we saw each other at 10X, and I'll have one of my folks do an intake interview with you to see if there's something that we could perhaps help you with. I also have a blog site, which is great for candidates, called Medical Device Guru. Like I said, I am a MedTech just nerd. I read about an hour every morning about what's going on in the news. So on Medical Device Guru, what we do is we have all kinds of information about companies that might be potential employers for you. And Joe? Questions?
I'll ask, what about the candidate who's naturally an introvert and not comfortable putting themselves out there?
You know, that's where you really need to rely on your network even more so. Silly things like LinkedIn recommendations, call your former boss, call your colleagues, and call them. Even though it's an introvert, these are people that care about you and your career. And sometimes those LinkedIn recommendations, I look at those. I read those. I am connected to the world, so chances are we know somebody in common. And if you're an introvert, touch on that network source to try to help be your voice. By the same token, you're really good at what you do. And we place probably more introverts than extroverts because we do so much in R&D and operations and manufacturing as well as the commercial. And some of my introverts will do practice interviewing with them. So if you're working with a recruiter like myself, or if you've got a friend in that practice, that you would do that practice interviewing. But introverts, gosh, you guys are just really easy to interview because you tell it like it is. So I would do a little practicing and absolutely rely on my network.
So I'll ask a question that you don't typically get asked, and that is, what if someone, frankly, isn't the best? Because the way you talk about it is, you're the best, you're the expert, you go out there and you present. Not everyone, by definition, is the best.
Right.
So how do people who aren't the very top of their class, the very highest sales, performer, the very best, how do they go about finding the right job for them?
Perfect question. I haven't been asked that before. But yeah, we do have, if it's an 80-20 rule, somebody's going to be in the 80, someone's going to be in the 20. I think that's when it's super critical to know exactly what it is you want to do. So whether that's a title, whether that's a company, whether that's a clinical focus area, and research the heck out of it. Free resource on my website and also on Medical Device Guru is called the Medical Device Interview Prep Guide. And what it does is allows you to research the company. So even though you may be an earlier stage in your career, or you might be transitioning to a clinical focus area that's not your core competency, by gosh, you've got to do your research. So when an interviewer calls you for an interview, and the first question that I would ask is, tell me what you know about my company. I've had a lot of really, really short conversations. So if you're on your way up or looking for the next level, make sure that you are not only prepared about what your career, but also about the company itself.
So when you say, tell me what you know about my company, I'm curious to know, as an executive recruiter, are you asking?
About the client company.
Oh, okay.
Client
I
company.
wonder
when
if
I'm
you
doing
ever
an
ask.
interview prep, then I'm going to say, okay, Laura, you've got an interview tomorrow with Medtronic. Tell me what you know about the company. Tell me how you fit in. Tell me about their corporate culture. There are resources like Glassdoor, the internet, YouTube. My goodness, there's tons of stuff on YouTube about most of these companies. But you should be a mini expert in any company that you decide that you're going to interview with.
Hi, Paula. My name is Nathan Steele. So one question: the face of a candidate would be his resume and his social media face. So, do you provide any help or advices how to polish this thing so that it will be more visible or more acceptable by recruiters or by the other companies?
Yes, I don't do resume critiques because it is not my core competency. But yeah, on my website, I have a list of several different resumes. I love your exec brand, Sue Sarkeesian, who I think was here a few years ago. Sue is got a master's degree in psychology, and she could make anybody's resume look that much better than they are. But yeah, I would get it professionally done.
Hi, Paula. I'm transitioning from the cellular industry to the medical devices industry. Are there any things in particular that somebody like me should pay attention to or do to make that transition over?
And what do you do?
I used to be a product test manager for Microsoft and Nokia, so it was mobile communications. So I'm making that transition now. I'm going to school at UCSD, getting regulatory affairs certificates and quality certificates. But beyond that, I noticed that when I search for project manager positions, they're always 10 years, 15 years of experience.
Yeah.
So it's on medical devices. I'm a PMP as well, so I'm trying to cross that bridge, and I'm here thanks to Joe and his sponsors to learn more about the industry, but I don't know if you have any
Yes,
ideas
I
or
had this
thoughts.
conversation with someone yesterday. So what you need to do is to write a test engineer for your current company to medical device translation. So particularly with PMPs, there's so many, IQ, OQ, PQ, and all, it's different, industries have different terms for the same types of activities. So again, on my free website, everything's free, there's something for software engineering, something for a lot of the technical positions that translate consumer, avionics, automotive, but you need to be speaking the same language because remember, those resumes are going to be read by either an earlier career person. I have researchers that read them. I don't see them until they get to the end stage. So make sure that you're using the terms that are germane for the medical device industry, not your current industry. So some of those nuances will help your resume bubble up in a database search. And also, you need to know their terminologies as you're interviewing. And again, doing a lot of research on the company will let you see their terms. Last, if you have a job that you absolutely want, rewrite your resume specific for that job. So I do tell one, make a custom resume. Certainly you want to have your template resume. But if you're looking for a PMP job within a biopharmaceutical company, then go ahead and take the experience that you've had and try to translate that into the terminology that reads like the job description.
In closing, would you tell us a little bit about Medtech TV?
Sure. So, like I said, I've been having such a great time with Legacy MedSearch since 2005, but my group has grown up now, and my practice leaders, like, they do better when I'm gone, Joe, so I had to have a new hobby. So Medtech TV is, like I said, I'm filming. I'll be here till tomorrow morning. I think it's going to be an exciting talk show because we all talk medical device all the time. So it'll be a live show, filmed live with segments such as the one we're filming here, talking about the business of medical devices. It's going to be out hopefully June 19th. We might push that a week or two. It's going to be all over social media. So I really hope you'll tune in to Medtech TV when we air in a couple of weeks.
Ladies and gentlemen, Paula Rutledge.
Right. Thank you.